In the cold stone kingdoms, men lost themselves without noticing. No bell warned the traveler when he walked toward ruin slowly. A dangerous road felt comfortable first, and comfort blinded countless souls. Most men were not powerless. They simply followed the wrong banners. In the crowded streets of Florence, many merchants already looked defeated, not because war destroyed them suddenly, but because poor choices repeated endlessly. One foolish action meant little, but years of blindness destroyed dynasties. The deadliest prison was invisible, a life never truly chosen. Men labored beneath noble houses daily, while their own dreams quietly vanished. Hard labor without strategy was meaningless. It only exhausted the spirit faster. Many sacrificed sleep and peace to enrich kings they barely respected. The courts loved obedient workers because exhausted minds rarely questioned authority. Most peasants followed tradition automatically, without asking where the road ended. That is how kingdoms controlled people, through comfort disguised as stability. You were not born to kneel blindly, yet society rewarded obedience first. In London, taverns and Venetian markets, men chased futures they secretly despised. Many inherited their father's burdens, then mistook them for destiny. Families taught survival and duty, not freedom or personal ambition. Neighbors praised safe decisions constantly. Because courage frightened ordinary people, the crowd trusted predictable men, for independent thinkers threatened order. A dangerous truth about power: followers always build another man's empire. If you never questioned your path, someone else already ruled your future. Most lives formed through pressure quietly, through fear, tradition, and imitation. People called it wisdom and honor, when it was merely quiet submission. A man lost himself slowly, through countless silent compromises. The hunger for approval ruled kingdoms and destroyed more men than battlefields. Many feared public shame more than wasting their entire existence. So they stayed silent in courts, marriages, alliances, and opportunities. They traded truth for acceptance until they forgot their real nature. Approval pleased the crowd briefly, but dependence weakened men permanently. Once others sensed your insecurity, they quietly guided your direction. One nobleman's disappointment controlled you if your confidence relied on approval. Respect and popularity differed greatly, yet most men chased the weaker one. Popular men avoided dangerous truths. Respected men spoke calmly regardless. You needed conviction, not applause, to survive the politics of kingdoms. Every ruler understood this clearly. Certainty frightened weak-minded crowds. Once you stopped begging for validation, people treated you with caution instead. Not because you became cruel, but because your spirit stopped kneeling. Silence became your armor when rejection no longer frightened you. The wrong allies destroyed lives faster than swords or foreign armies ever could. A false friend studied your weaknesses while pretending loyalty beside the fire. Not every smiling companion deserved access to your inner world. In Roman palaces and French courts, betrayal often arrived dressed elegantly. A man revealed himself through patterns, not charming words or polished manners. Watch how someone behaved during hardship. That was always their truest face. Anyone could appear loyal temporarily. When loyalty demanded no sacrifice, real character appeared during inconvenience. When selfishness suddenly became profitable, never trust promises too quickly. Trust repeated actions over many seasons. Manipulators favored emotional people greatly because emotions blinded wise judgment. Your circle shaped your destiny silently, through habits, ambition, and influence. Some companions drained ambition slowly, while pretending concern for your peace. Not every friendship deserved permanence, even if years bound you together. Distance revealed true intentions quickly, for false loyalty feared separation. Emotion ruined judgment faster than enemies, especially anger mixed with wounded pride. Most regrets began emotionally, while wisdom arrived far too late. Men challenged rivals recklessly, abandoned opportunities and trusted dangerous strangers. Strong emotion created temporary blindness, and blindness invited permanent consequences. Fear convinced men to settle quietly, while excitement led others toward ruin. Even intelligent scholars failed disastrously if emotions governed their decisions. Power belonged to disciplined minds, not emotionally reactive spirits. A brief pause saved kingdoms when used before emotional action. Leave heated chambers temporarily. Clarity returned when tempers cooled. Delayed responses protected reputations far better than impulsive reactions ever could. Comfort proved more dangerous than hardship, because comfort rarely demanded growth. Difficult winters sharpened men's instincts. Easy years weakened them quietly. Most men decayed inside comfort, while calling it peace and stability. That secure position at court may have slowly killed ambition. A stagnant marriage felt familiar until both souls stopped growing entirely. Comfort whispered seductive lies gently, like, "At least life is stable." Meanwhile, courage faded silently, and standards weakened with every passing year. The world changed relentlessly each season, whether men evolved beside it or not. If your environment stopped challenging you, it had already begun weakening you. True security came through capability, not through avoiding discomfort endlessly. Growth required hardship and friction, for struggle forged stronger men. Most people thought only of today, while wise strategists thought in decades. Short pleasures destroyed long futures, and kingdoms repeated this mistake endlessly. One careless indulgence today became years of suffering tomorrow. Debt began through emotional spending. Failure began through repeated avoidance. Temporary relief created permanent burdens when consequences were ignored carelessly. Before every serious decision, imagine the worst possible outcome first. If failure destroyed your future completely, the reward was never worth chasing. Strategic minds thought years ahead, while emotional men thought until sunrise. The future formed quietly over time, through decisions nobody noticed immediately. Pride trapped men longer than chains, especially when truth already stood obvious. Many stayed loyal to failing kings because admitting error wounded their pride. They defended rotten alliances publicly, while privately drowning in misery. Changing direction felt humiliating initially, but remaining lost cost far more. A ship slightly off course still vanished if never corrected. Small mistakes became catastrophic eventually, when ignored for too many years. The strongest rulers adapted quickly, without protecting appearances or ego. Pride whispered, "Continue proving yourself." Wisdom whispered, "Change before destruction arrives." You were not your past mistakes. You were your next deliberate action. The longer correction was delayed, the heavier the future's punishment became. Most men recognized truth too late, after precious years already disappeared. Time vanished quietly through routines, while ambition slowly lost its fire. The tragedy of wrong paths was how ordinary they first appeared. Men adapted to emptiness gradually, until numbness became their identity. Then one harsh morning arrived, and they no longer recognized themselves. Yet awareness changed destinies instantly, because truth created stronger decisions. The moment a man saw clearly, he became harder to control forever. A future depended upon direction, not merely effort or endless labor. Walk carefully from this moment onward, for small choices shape entire lives. A different future began immediately, the moment a man stopped deceiving himself. Perfect certainty was unnecessary, but honest awareness remained essential. The wrong path stole life slowly, until nothing meaningful remained inside. Yet one correction made today could still rescue years of tomorrow. A man's destiny got changed completely once he stopped walking unconsciously. Many men believed they had time, until age arrived without warning. The young blacksmith sought fortune desperately, yet never questioned who benefited most. He worked beneath another man's banner while his own dreams turned to ash. In the ports of Lisbon and Seville, ambitious men chased hollow glory endlessly. Some crossed dangerous oceans for gold, yet returned spiritually empty and broken. Others remained trapped inside villages, too frightened to test their own strength. Fear wore many disguises then: duty, honor, loyalty, and obedience. A man often called himself loyal when he was merely afraid to leave. The church bells echoed through cities, while countless souls quietly lost direction. Many followed customs without thought, because questioning tradition invited judgment. Kings understood the crowd deeply. Fearful people were easier to command. A frightened population obeyed quickly, especially when uncertainty filled the streets. So rulers created comforting illusions, stability in exchange for silent obedience. Most men accepted the arrangement gladly, because freedom demanded painful responsibility. Responsibility forced honest self-reflection, and most people feared truth deeply. It is easier to follow blindly than to confront your real desires. Many noblemen smiled at banquets publicly, while privately hating their own existence. Their titles impressed the kingdom greatly, yet brought little peace to their minds. A silk robe could hide misery, but never remove it completely. Power without purpose corrupted men slowly, until ambition replaced genuine meaning entirely. In Renaissance courts and royal chambers, appearance became more valuable than character. Men polished their image constantly, while neglecting discipline and wisdom. They mastered elegant speech and manners, yet remained weak within themselves. A dangerous man is not loud. He is calm, patient, and observant. The manipulator studies human weakness carefully. Before making his first move, he notices loneliness inside people, then offers false understanding strategically. He praises insecure men generously, because praise lowers natural suspicion. A starving soul accepts attention quickly, without questioning the hidden intention behind it. That is why desperate people suffer. They trust comfort before truth. In crowded taverns after midnight, many secrets escaped careless, drunken mouths. Wine revealed weakness to enemies, and weakness invited silent exploitation. Loose speech destroyed more futures than swords ever destroyed on battlefields. Wise men guarded their thoughts carefully, especially around charming strangers. Not everyone deserved full honesty, for honesty without caution became dangerous. Some men spoke too openly, because silence made them uncomfortable. Yet silence held enormous power, especially in rooms filled with manipulators. The quiet observer learned everything, while the loud fool revealed himself freely. A disciplined tongue protected kingdoms. Reckless speech destroyed alliances overnight. Many friendships collapsed over envy, though envy rarely announced itself honestly. A man celebrated your success publicly, while secretly resenting your rise deeply. Envy smiles politely at first, then poisons relationships little by little. The jealous companion watches carefully, waiting for your first major mistake. When weakness finally appears publicly, He distances himself to protect status. That is why wise rulers remained cautious, even among smiling companions and advisors. Not every ally desired your victory. Some merely desired proximity to power. Ambition changed men quickly, especially when wealth or influence appeared nearby. A poor man may seem humble until opportunity reveals hidden greed. Gold transformed human behavior rapidly, and kingdoms witnessed this repeatedly. Brothers betrayed brothers for inheritance. Friends betrayed friends for advancement. Loyalty became fragile around opportunity because self-interest ruled most hearts secretly. This truth frightened idealistic men greatly, yet ignoring it proved even deadlier. Wisdom required seeing reality clearly, not the fantasy you wished existed. Many scholars understood philosophy deeply, yet still failed in practical life. Knowledge alone protected nobody, without discipline and observation beside it. A clever strategist watched patterns patiently, instead of believing emotional promises blindly. Patterns revealed future behavior clearly, because human nature rarely changed completely. The same weaknesses repeated endlessly, across kingdoms, generations, and bloodlines. Pride destroyed kings and peasants equally, for ego respected no social class. A stubborn ruler ignored warnings repeatedly, until rebellion consumed his entire kingdom. An ordinary merchant ignored obvious danger, until debt swallowed his family whole. Both shared the same weakness internally, the inability to correct course early. The ego hates admitting mistakes publicly, even when truth becomes undeniable. So men continue losing silently, while pretending everything remains under control. That performance exhausts the spirit deeply, because lies demand endless maintenance. Eventually, reality arrives without mercy, and illusions collapse before everyone watching. A wise man corrected himself quickly, before consequences became impossible to escape. He valued truth above appearance, and progress above wounded pride. Many people confuse stubbornness with strength. Though true strength requires flexibility, the oak tree resists the storm proudly. Yet sometimes the bending branch survives longer. Adaptation is not weakness. It is intelligent survival under pressure. The rigid mind eventually breaks, because life changes without asking permission. In medieval kingdoms and modern cities alike, the principle remains painfully unchanged. Time rewards strategic people slowly, while punishing careless people gradually. Nothing collapses immediately at first. That is why danger feels harmless initially. A weak habit repeated daily becomes a destiny before you notice. An ignored warning repeated often becomes a catastrophe nobody can reverse. That is how lives unravel quietly, through small choices left unquestioned too long. Most disasters begin invisibly, long before consequences appear publicly. The wrong path always feels ordinary, until years suddenly disappear behind you. Then regret enters the room silently and asks why you never corrected earlier. That question destroys many spirits, because deep down they always knew. They knew the relationship felt hollow, yet remained because loneliness frightened them. They knew the career lacked purpose, yet stayed because uncertainty terrified them. They knew their companions were toxic, yet tolerated disrespect for temporary belonging. Fear chained more people than prisons, because invisible chains are rarely challenged. A free mind threatens every system, because awareness cannot be controlled easily. Once a person sees clearly, manipulation loses much of its power. That is why honest self-reflection matters. It exposes the hidden traps surrounding you. A man who understands himself deeply becomes difficult to deceive or influence. He no longer seeks approval desperately, because his direction comes from within. He no longer fears solitude excessively, because peace matters more than popularity. He studies people patiently before trust, instead of surrendering trust emotionally. He thinks beyond temporary emotions and beyond immediate pleasure or relief. Most importantly, he adjusts early before small errors become irreversible disasters. That is how strong futures are built, through awareness practiced consistently over time, not through luck or perfect conditions, but through disciplined and deliberate choices. Every kingdom eventually changes rulers, yet human nature remains painfully familiar. The faces and clothing evolve with centuries, but ambition and fear remain eternal. So protect your direction carefully, because life follows whatever path you repeat. A man becomes what he practices daily, whether he realizes it or not. Your habits shape your destiny silently, while your excuses delay necessary action. The future is never accidental. It is constructed choice by choice. And the greatest tragedy of all is realizing this truth far too late.